Beelzebub's Tales to His Grandson, Chapter 34, Russia. All the further events during this last sojourn of mine on the surface of the planet Earth, connected with the abnormal form of the usual being existence of those three-brained beings who please you, and at the same time many trifling incidents of all kinds which elucidated the characteristic details of their peculiar psyche, began from the following. Once, walking one morning by the said pyramids, a certain elderly being, a stranger, and in exterior appearance not a native, approached me, and greeting me in the manner customary there, addressed me with the following words. Doctor, you will perhaps do me the kindness to allow me to be your companion on your morning walks? I have noticed that you always walk in this neighborhood alone. I am also very fond of walking here of a morning, and as I too am quite alone here in Egypt, I venture to propose to you that I should accompany you on these walks of yours. Since the vibration of his radiations in relation to mine appeared not acutely haute Kalupanian, or as your favorites in such case would say, since he appeared to be sympathetic, and furthermore because I myself had already thought of establishing here also corresponding mutual relations with someone, in order, as a rest from active mentation, to converse sometimes by following only the course of freely flowing associations. I at once agreed to his proposition, and from that day forth began to spend the time of my morning strolls with him. During our further acquaintanceship, it transpired that this foreigner was a subject of that large community called Russia, and that among his compatriots he was an important power-possessing being. During these walks of ours, it so happened that we began, why I don't know, to talk chiefly about the weak will of the three-brained beings, and about those weaknesses unworthy of them, which they themselves call vices, and to which they, particularly the contemporary beings, accustom themselves very quickly, and which finally become for them a basis in the sense of the aim of their existence, as well as in the sense of the quality of their being manifestations. Once, during one of these conversations of ours, he, addressing me suddenly, said, "My dear doctor, in my native land, during recent times, the passion for alcohol is strongly developed and widely spread among people of all classes, which passion, as you know always, sooner or later leads in general to those forms of mutual relationship which usually bring about the destruction of the century-old pillars and attainments of society. This is just why several far-sighted compatriots of mine, having at last understood all the seriousness of such a situation as had arisen in our country, collected together in order perhaps to devise conjointly some means or other for the prevention of any catastrophic consequence. For the realization of this task of theirs, they there and then decided to found a society under the name of the Trusteeship of People's Temperance, and they chose me to be the head of this enterprise. At the present time, the activities of the trusteeship as regards the organization of measures for the struggle against the said state evil are in full swing. We have already done much, and we have in view to do much more." Having said this, he became a little thoughtful and continued thus. "If now, my dear doctor, you were to ask my personal opinion as to the results expected from this trusteeship of ours, sincerely speaking, I should, although I am at the head of it, find it very difficult to say anything good about it. As regards the general position of affairs of this trusteeship of ours, I meanwhile personally place my hope only in a chance. In my opinion, the whole evil consists in this, that this trusteeship is under the protection of several groups, upon whom any realization of its task just depends. But as these groups each follow their own particular aims and wishes concerning each separate question, then over the solution of each separate question concerning the basic aim of the trusteeship, controversy always reigns. And thanks to this, day by day, instead of improving the conditions for a speedy possibility of a realization indeed of the aim which has been set as a basis of this very important actualization for my dear fatherland, there only increases among the separate members of our trusteeship all kinds of misunderstandings, personal considerations, gossip, intrigue, plots, and so on and so forth. As regards myself personally, I have during recent times so much thought, rethought, and consulted with various people who have more or less life experience in order to find some way or other out of the situation which has turned out so sorrowfully that I reached such a state that I nearly fell ill and was compelled by the insistence of those near to me to undertake this journey here to Egypt with the sole object of resting. But alas, now here in Egypt even I have met with no success, because always those same black thoughts of mine give me no peace. Now, my dear doctor, that you already know approximately the gist of that affair, which was the cause for my present spiritual unbalance, I will frankly confess to you my inner thoughts and hopes, which have arisen in connection with my acquaintanceship with you. The point is, he continued, that during our frequent and lengthy talks on the subject of the evil vices of people and about the possible measures for getting rid of them, I reached a full conviction of your thorough competency in questions of the subtle understanding of people's psyche, as well as in the creating of conditions for the struggle against their weaknesses. And that is why I regard you as the only man who might be the source of every kind of initiative for the organization, as well as for the carrying out in life of the activities of the trusteeship founded there at home for the struggle against alcoholism. Yesterday morning an idea came into my head, over which I thought the whole day and evening, and it is about this that I finally decided to ask you. Would you consent to go to my country, to Russia, and after you have seen everything on the spot that is going on there, help us to organize this trusteeship of ours in such a way that it may indeed become of that use to my country for which it was founded? He further added, your just humanness gives me courage to address this request to you, as well as the assurance that you will not, of course, refuse to take part in the work of saving perhaps millions of people. When this sympathetic elderly Russian finished speaking, I, having thought a little, replied that I might very possibly consent to his proposal to go to Russia, since that country might perhaps be very suitable also for my chief aim. Further, I said to him, at the present time, I have but one aim, namely, specifically to clear up for myself all